Hugh Farmer, Seymour High School. Talking a little air raid football this morning. It's pretty early, about 4 in the morning. It's when I have time to do this. We're going to talk about a staple in the air raid offense and one of my favorites. We're going to start with a vertical passing game we call mesh, and we'll go through it and I'll draw it up like I did the two screens, and we'll draw a couple of variations of that play, and then we'll get to the film and we can look at that a little bit. But we're going to start with the board, start drawing a little bit. We'll talk about some reads and some things that make this play unique. But we call this, in our offense, we call it 92. And 92 is the mesh play. Okay. First things first, we'll just do it out of a blue set. It's kind of what you initially run it out of. Actually, I ran it out of doubles, but I'll erase that out. Okay. So here's a little blue set. This would be called blue 92. Okay. One thing that you'll notice that the alignment of receivers and things, basically they align to where they can run their route. And if you look right here, this spacing right here between your Y and your end man on the line, that's about 6 to 8 yards right there. Okay. And then we'll stretch this out to maybe 10 yards, and he'll be like slightly inside of the numbers. And if you're on this hash, he'll probably be on the numbers. But you can play with that. And basically what it ends up being is you just need to make sure that these guys get to this mesh in a timely manner, and that your timing is right. So you can play with that depending on the kid's ability and their speed. But first things first, when you're running this play, the quarterback is going to tell the Z what to run. And basically we have three options. And we can run a corner route. We can run a out route, and we run a post. And those are predicated on coverage. So, like, for example, if you have a hard corner, you have a safety up top, okay, we'll run a 5-step post. And so he runs 5 steps and he leans into the safety, and he's going to break that out to the post. And we use these things called pylon rules. And basically, if it's outside of the 20, he runs to the front pylon. If it's inside of the 20 in the red zone, he'll run to the back pylon. And that's the corner route. And again, it's predicated on we're running this Z receiver to the grass. That grass in this instance is right here. It's just between the safety and the corner. If any kind of off coverage here, like cover 3 or cover 4, he's going to run an out. He's running a 10-yard out. He's going to run 10 yards, and he's going to come back out, and we kind of go back to 9. So that's out. Also, you can do this if you feel like these guys are going to bail. You know, maybe they're covered. They're like a soft 2, and they're always bailing that guy and ending up in 4. You can run this as well, and that's just kind of predicated on game planning. But that's the out. And if you notice this out, we always kind of come back, and you can stretch this out a little bit farther. You can go 12 back to 11, but we go about 10 back to 9, and that's just what we do at this level. If you got a quarterback that's got a little bit more of an arm, and you got a Z that can run a little bit faster, you could stretch that out a little bit. The last choice that we have is a post, okay? And we run a 4-step post. That's to the goal post, and we run this route if there's no safety. So that's no safety. So, like, let's say you're a man, there's no safeties there in cover zero. Or you'll notice on some of the film, the safeties are really coming up, they're coming up on the mesh, so we'll run a post behind it. So if the safeties are really active and you really don't end up with the safety, you can do that as well. But so anyway, so let's draw up. I'm going to draw up a 4-3 cover two. Something like that. Okay. So what we'll run here, like we talked about earlier, the Z is going to run a corner route. And we may, one thing you may ask is, how do we know? How does he know? The quarterback's going to tell him what to run. And, if we feel like they're going to be in something like this, then we won't signal in the first what we prominent route that we think that they're going to run. So, like for example, if they're running a lot of cover two, then the corner route is just understood, and then the quarterback will change that if he sees something else. Okay, right. And then the next thing is the mesh. Okay, and the mesh. One of the things you got to know is that the Y sets the mesh. So he's going to come through here, and then he's going to try to get to 6 yards on top of the ball. So he's at 6 yards on top of the ball, and he's going to try to get to this point right here. The X, he's gonna go underneath, and we usually do a low five. Those guys will combine, they'll low five each other, but that's that mesh has to happen fast. And if you notice, we're not drawing it like this, because if you do that, or if you got to tell these guys you're running in a straight line. And the wise rule is he sets the mesh, and his only rule is he's going to try to get to six, but if he can't, he's got to go under the backers. Okay, and if the linebackers are not allowing him to get to six, he may be at five, he may be at four, but he's always right. Okay, and he's going to try to get to six, but if he has to modify his route for whatever reason, then he's right. The X always goes under. Okay, he goes under the Y, and he needs to understand that the Y sets the mesh, and so the Y is right. So he needs to know that. Okay, and so when they get to this point right here, they need to understand, is this man or zone? Okay, and the best way to do that is when he's running across, he's going to look at this guy right here. If this guy's just sitting there, okay, these guys are going to flatten out. Okay, and they're gonna get in this hole right here. Okay, and same thing right here. Both these guys are gonna get, and they're gonna set in this hole, and probably do that a little bit far, but they're gonna set in that hole right there, and just like your noose drill that you do, they're gonna set up and they're gonna present their numbers and their noose to the quarterback, and he'll throw the ball accordingly. Okay, running backs, what do they do? Well, the F's involved in the protection, so he's gonna make sure that, and we'll talk about protection in another video, but just really quickly, he's gonna look inside to outside. If there's no blitzers, then he's free releasing. If someone shows, he's gonna check that and then release. But like in this instance, let's just say these guys are back. He's going to release, and he's gonna run a swing route. And his swing route is 3 to 4 yards. He's just busting his butt, and then he'll look around, and then he'll go all the way to the numbers. If he gets to the numbers and the ball isn't thrown yet, he'll turn around and wait there. The H, he is the only way he gets involved in the protection is if this guy's up here showing, and of course that guy's not. So he runs what we call a shoot route. Okay, his shoot route there. I tell him to run that at the line of scrimmage. He'll usually go to about a yard. Okay. The main thing on these guys right here is that they have to go fast and they got to get width. They can't lollygag around and not run their route in a fast manner. They gotta get on their horse and they gotta go. They have to go. And one thing on the F on a swing right here, what they'll tend to do, kids will run a route like this, and you really got to work that and get on those kids to run that thing flat. Okay. All right. So looking at the quarterback right here, what he does, he's 3-step drop. Okay. This is what we call his pre-read. He's going to look at this. He's going to know if he wants to really look at this during the play, and that's what the pre means. The pre doesn't mean that I'm going to predetermine throw this guy the ball. What it means is am I going to stay on this read very long, or am I going to get off of it? If it looks pretty good to him, he could stay on that, and if not, he might as well just get off. So there's your pre. 1 is your swing to the back. 3 is your meshers, front side to back side mesh. So front side to back side mesh. And then your 4 read, excuse me, that's 2. And that's 3. Sorry. So pre, 1 on the swing, 2 on the meshers, 3 back out. This guy right here can also make a ball call if no one's around him, because he is the last read. And so if he gets out here and nobody covers him, he'll say ball, ball, ball. Now, one thing about this this concept, let's say they do see man, and so this guy's running across right here, and he sees this guy chasing the Y, and this Y is coming across here, and he sees this guy chasing the X. Okay, what they do is right after the mesh, then they go ahead and they kind of bend their routes up like this. And you'll see that as well on some of the film. So that's 92 mesh out of blue. And it's a great play. Now, what I would say is this play is really good if you work it every day. If you don't give it the time and you just run it as another play, then I would say don't run it. But if you're willing to run it every day, you can get a lot of mileage out of it. We called this play over 100 times this year, completed 65 of them, and we called it, I think, 24 times in one game. And so it's a big play. It's one of our plays we run. If we don't know what to call, we're going to call either some sort of screen, or we're going to call 92 mesh. Okay. One thing we'll do is we'll run it out of trips, and we'll show you this. We run it a lot out of empty. Okay. And if you notice, we'll always run it to the Z. So if, like, for example, let me do this. I want to run it to the other side just to show you. So, for example, we can run. I can put the Z to the outside. We call that flop, and we'll run it like this. Okay. Same thing on the mesh. The Y runs the mesh. X is under. So these guys do their thing. Z's getting his call, whether that be corner, whether that be that out, whether that be the post, and the F is running the swing. So the read is over here on this side now. So there's the pre. The read starts with the Z. Okay, so there's the pre. The on this instance right here, what we'll do is we'll run a little shoot route right here, or we'll run a bubble. And that's kind of predicated on what we do. Like if I feel like we're going to run a lot of out routes, we'll run a bubble. So really, that's pre. That's number 1, this flat route right here. Number 2 is your meshers, and number 3 is your swing by your F. And so basically we flip this over, and now we're running it to the left, and that's the way we do it. We'll bring the Z over. So we bring the Z over, and that's the way we get to our left side call. So that's kind of a couple little examples. You can do a lot with this. You can run a post, and then you can run a wheel with your That's something we like to do down in the red zone if they're playing a lot of man. Running the wheel is good, but it's a good little play, and there's a lot of variations of this that you see. The main thing I would say is make sure that your mesh happens fast. Really work on this, and you'll see even in our film we run it a lot. And sometimes our mesh isn't very good, and it's just a thing you got to work on all the time and be consistent with the kids. And because it is tough to go through there, and linebackers are trying to hit you and things, so that mesh you have to work on. So that's that, and we'll get to a little video here, and so you guys can see how it looks like when we run. Of course, we're a small school, and we're the smallest 11-man division in Texas, and so shows you what you can kind of do with some kids. We have 20 something kids on our varsity, so they go both ways, and so we run this stuff, and it's a lot of fun. Right here, this is out of empty. There's the mesh. I think the mesh is probably a little slow. Right there, those linebackers stay kind of in tight. Looks like our quarterback calls a post right here, and I think he thinks that safety has been pretty active, and so that's what he calls. But whatever he calls, we're going to go with it. And probably should have called an out, but that's what he called. So the Z runs a post. You can see our first read down here at the bottom. Our H runs a shoot route. Okay, he's covered. Okay, and then our quarterback gets off of that. Oh, excuse me. Okay, get back. Quarterback gets off of that route and goes to the meshers. And the Y does a good job. He keeps going until he finds that hole. So the linebackers are in tight, and he finds the hole. Quarterback steps up, does a good job stepping up in the pocket, and he finds his front side mesh. Okay, good job. Here it is out at empty again. Quarterback calls a post. Probably shouldn't have. Probably should have called a corner route. And this is my freshman quarterback. He likes to throw it long, so a lot of times he'll call that post just so he can throw that ball. But probably not a good route to throw. Okay, out of empty again. You see we run out of empty a lot. I love this play out of empty. Right here. Okay, right here. So he's calling a post. And I think a lot of it, maybe this game, we might have been going, okay, um, we want our Z to take away two guys, and see right here, he looks at his post, he doesn't like it, and then he throws to his first read, which is his back out. Okay, learn how to empty again. Quarterback right here gets flushed, and he hits the front side mesh. It's a good job. We'll watch that one more time. It's like his eyes got off the play a little bit just to avoid the rush. He's looking and probably looking the wrong side. This is early in the year. It looks like he doesn't do a good job going through his reads, and his eyes are wrong. Try to get one, see one out of a different formation. These are collated in best plays to worst. I guess empty was really good for us uh, on this play. Right here, we got we got an out route up at the top. It's probably a pretty good call. Goes all the way to the backside mesh, and he kind of just runs past that guy. And a lot of times, you get down to the we tell him you get down to the 20, we'll just keep running the routes through, and that's what he does here. He doesn't feel like he's getting open, so he just keeps. There's a little bit of flexibility for those receivers. Here's one out of blue. Y goes way too deep. He goes behind the linebackers, doesn't do a very good job. The the X does a good job getting open. He just goes and finds the next little hole, and there we go. And of course, this is the first year we put this in with these guys, and I'm telling you, um, we can get a lot better than this. These are a bunch of young kids out here running this. Here's blue right here, and got the corner route up at the top. Quarterback gets flushed out of the pocket, and squeezes that one in there. But we ran this play 65 times and had a lot of success with it, and it was a lot of fun. And here's another blue. One thing I like on this play, those running backs are doing a good job getting horizontal, and it's really stretching the defense out. And that's a good job, a good look at the front side mesh going through this and how it causes just a little hesitation by that inside linebacker number 5, and boom, there's a hole, and he does a good job finding him and throwing it, and it's a big game. Here it is out of trips. Right here, you can kind of the linebacker's kind of going with him, and so he goes, okay. He look if you look at the backside, the Y's are on the backside mesh, and he goes, all right, I'll just keep running. He turns it up, and the quarterback finds him, and that's a big play for us in this game. Here's a good example of the running back running a swing and then kind of just stopping at the numbers, and they do a pretty good job initially covering this. Quarterback buys a little time, steps up, makes a little time, and then makes a heck of a throw. Here's out of trips going the other way. The backside mesh on this, he's just going with him. He senses man, and so he just keeps running. There's a good example of that. Boom. It's a good job. There's one out of blue. Got a nice little mesh. Boom. So as you can see, it's not a bad little play, and we work on it a lot. And you know, we have we need to get better at it, but we're it's a work in progress. But it's a fun play to run. Here's another play out of empty. We hit the back out. Nobody covers the front side flat route. That's our number one read. So we just give it to him and make a guy miss and make a big play. But anyway, that was fun, and we'll I'll see you next time, and we'll discuss something else. Probably, I think we're going to do a 6, which is our all vertical play. That's what we're going to do next. But appreciate your time, and hopefully you got something out of this. Thank you. Bye bye.